We just got done from taking a 7-day cruise to Bermuda. So we have to fill you guys in on how this trip went because we left our RV in Portland, Maine, as we took a cruise that left out of New York that went all the way to Bermuda. So this week we are taking you guys with us on a cruise on the Norwegian Aqua.
Okay, first of all, we need to talk about why we went on this trip because it was not initially in our plans while we're in the middle of an RV trip. We want to explain why we actually were there.
Yeah, so Bermuda was a place that my dad, for just about as long as I can remember, has always wanted to go. And his birthday was coming up, and pretty much my mom gave us an invite with about 2 weeks heads up.
Gabby's family does not plan ahead for things.
We are the definition of last minute planners, very go with the flow. We were so stressed, I feel like, when this opportunity came up because it sounded like a lot of fun, but with our black tank issue, how is it responsible to go leave for a week? But at the same time, the thought of not thinking about our black tank issue for a week was kind of perfect. After enough discussions, we just said, hey, we'll figure out how to get there. Let's do it. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, so we figured out where we were gonna need to be at the time. So we made our way to Portland, Maine. So that way we could fly from there to Manhattan, New York City, where the cruise was leaving to go to Bermuda. The cruise was a 7-day cruise. It's 2 days to get out to Bermuda. Then it was spending like three and a half days there, and then 2 days to get back to New York. So that is kind of the itinerary for the trip and leaving our RV for that amount of time. Okay, so starting off talking about the actual cruise itself. So like Gabby mentioned, we took the Norwegian Aqua, which is a huge boat. I think there is a capacity of like 5,000 people or something. So it was pretty intimidating and also pretty interesting to leave from the city of New York, having this massive boat in the harbor. But it was a pretty convenient place to be able to fly into and leave on the boat.
And also something to note, I would say that Brendan and I aren't very much so cruise people. Like if we were to pick a vacation of our choice, it wouldn't necessarily be that. RV life, I think, fits us really well with just kind of being like adventurous, being in control of what you want to do, to where a cruise is very much so like the itinerary is already built out. And yeah, you could just hang around and read a book if you want. And that's not really entirely our style.
Yeah, I never really liked the idea of a cruise of, you know, getting to a port and having like 6 to 8 hours to go like rush and do whatever you want to do. But one of the things that I really liked about the idea of this cruise was going to one location and spending multiple days there. So I feel like we got our time on the boat, and then you could actually experience the stay that you were in. And then we had obviously some more time on the boat. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the actual boat.
Yeah, I would say that we had no problem staying entertained on the boat. The boat had a really nice gym that got probably too busy sometimes, but we try to work out in after hours.
I mean, it was gorgeous. Like such beautiful views at the gym. I feel like I felt like I was like a millionaire celebrity working out.
I feel like the hardest part about a cruise is just trying not to eat all the time, because everywhere you go, there is a food, a sit down, a buffet. So we tried to do our best, but we did really like this one restaurant, sit down cafe place on the boat. It was called Indulge. And the neat part was that they had these tablet screens that you could just go there, pick whatever you want, and everything's included. Somebody will bring it right to your table.
One of the things we really liked about that is that Gabby and I are both vegan. So finding options to eat on the boat is a challenge. We didn't know how challenging it would be, but going to some of the sit-down restaurants, they didn't have a lot of options. So this place was super cool that you get to look at a whole menu, you know, order what you want on a tablet.
And then also on the Norwegian Aqua, they market that they're the only boat with an aqua roller coaster slide. So pretty much what it is...
It's called the slide coaster.
Oh, a slide coaster. But really what it is pretty much just a water slide that propels you really, really fast, and then you get to go down the water slide like a normal water slide. That was a pretty fun experience. We actually did that as like pretty much as soon as we got on the boat, because
we were the very first people to do it on the boat. Yeah.
And I think I did it with my dad like 3 times back to back to back, and we're like, okay, we're good. We got our experience. That was something that's kind of novelty. That's not going to entertain you for really more than 20 minutes. But it was kind of nice to have an option like that on the boat.
But definitely like so much to do. We were looking at the itinerary every day, and probably they have like 40 activities that you can choose to go to every like 30-minute span throughout the day. So there's always plenty of options. We love to go. There was several game shows that were really fun.
They were underrated. They were pretty good.
we went to a couple deal or no deal shows, which we love.
And the last thing that I'll say about the boat that we really enjoyed, but unfortunately it's behind a paywall, was the spa. So it was an additional $100 per person per day if you want to do it. And we saved this for the last day after we explored the island. And I'm really happy that we did, because it's kind of expensive, but at the same time, it took up pretty much our whole day. And so what it gives you access to is they have these thermal pools. They had 5 different saunas, 1 steam room, and then 1 ice room, which was really fun.
It was a little bit of a bummer that it was an upcharge, and definitely I was trying to figure out, like, is this worth it? But no, there were so many different rooms you could bounce around to, and we probably spent a total of like 4 or 5 hours in there.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was a pretty good value, actually.
And then they had the thermal lounge too, which were like lounger chairs with the view of the very front of the boat, but the lounger chairs were heated. They played really serene music. Oh my God, I feel like I can feel the relaxation thinking of that room. So it was still a big boat, a lot of people. There was definitely areas that we avoided because of how busy some places could get. We're not gamblers. We never touched a casino floor. But there was still kind of something for everyone, which was nice. And then, of course, the built-in family time for us of spending time. It just made it really easy since we all knew that since we're all in the same boat together.
Okay, so that's enough about the boat. Let's talk about the actual trip itself and why we went to Bermuda and what there was to do in this location. After the 2-day voyage from New York to getting to Bermuda, we had basically 3 days to take in all of what we wanted of Bermuda. So we rented these scooters and drove them around for an entire day, driving the entirety of the island. If you drove it nonstop, it might be an hour and a half to get from end to end. But we did make quite a few stops along the way. But it was definitely a full day of travel, and I would say a great way to experience the island.
Really popular thing that they say to do in Bermuda is go to Horseshoe Bay, to where we were told by actually your coworker that's been like 20 years ago. She was like, you got to go to Jobson's Cove. Yeah, she was like, Jobson's Cove is way better. There's like no tourists there. But she gave us this advice from when she went 20 years ago. So we're like, okay, like we'll see if that still holds true.
Who knows how much it's changed.
But man, it was stunning. It was so, so beautiful. There was really like, I don't know, I think at one point there was nobody else there on the beach with us. There was maybe like 4 other people that I saw coming like in and out. But the water, like I was telling Brendan, it looked like Glacier Freeze Gatorade color. Like it was just so blue.
And this is coming from people who live in Key West and get to experience the tropical climate, but like it was another level out there. Just so beautiful. As
we continued our way, another stop that we made was called Blue Hole, which is an area that you can go kind of like cliff jumping into this blue hole. It was really nice because we were the first people there. There was nobody else there. And then we hung out there for maybe an hour, 2 hours, and then by the end there was probably like 20 other people there.
And that is Bermuda's only jungle. So that was a cool experience to get to go to. A lot of the places can be busy, like if you're at the cruise port or different places that a lot of the people are going to. But this was a nice, quiet place that we were able to, have a nice few hours to relax at.
Then on our way back, we stopped by Horseshoe Bay just to see what all the hype was about. But we went when it was probably like really close to sunset, so there wasn't many people there. It was beautiful, but Jobson's Cove was so nice. So that was like our day 1 of exploring Bermuda. None of us really did much research. We just kind of showed up and figured we can entertain ourselves. But day 2, we knew we wanted to get out on the water.
Yeah, day 2 was so fun. Day 2, we wanted to see all of what the water had to offer. So there's a number of different excursions you can find, but we actually just found this random dude hanging out on the dock that was like, hey, I do private charters.
Captain Steve.
After negotiating price and all that, we decided like this is going to be a better way to explore what we want to do on the water.
We saw some of the tour boats leaving from the cruise ship, and they were just packed on these catamarans. It just did not look like a good time.
That was our initial plan, and then when we saw that, we're like, we're not looking to be sardines here.
Yeah.
But on the day on the water, it was so fun. But we started off with cliff jumping. It was a spot just right across from the cruise port, actually, just on a little island.
Yeah, so we did cliff jumping, we explored a sandbar, we did tons of snorkeling, we snorkeled some shipwrecks, and it was so cool because really the main reason why my dad always wanted to go to Bermuda was because of a movie that I believe was from the 70s called The Deep. And The Deep is all filmed around this shipwreck, and as we get out into the water, Captain Steve was like, have any of you seen the movie The Deep? We're all like, no way! So we got to dive that shipwreck. So snorkeling that area was super fun. Bit of a full circle moment for my dad. But the water was just stunning. And then we were able to finish the day with an awesome, awesome sunset on the water.
So after having 2 completely packed days of exploring the island, the third day we kind of wanted to take it easy a little bit. We took a ferry from where our boat was docked over to a different part of Bermuda called Hamilton, which I believe is the country's capital.
It's gotta be. It's definitely the biggest city there.
So after getting a lot of our nature experience, we were like, it might be nice to have a city day and explore the morning. So we took the ferry over. We walked around for maybe an hour, hour and a half.
Oh my God, it was so hot.
It was really
so hot.
I wouldn't say that we did a whole lot there, but it was nice to kind of have like a relaxing morning, see a few more people, see what it's like for people living in a city and what it would actually be like to live there, and kind of have, just a nice chill last day on the island.
And that in itself was pretty much our whole cruise experience and our days in Bermuda. I thought a cruise was a really nice way to experience Bermuda. Like, you said it multiple times, but it just kind of gives you an appreciation of how far in the middle of nowhere this country really is. And also, I would say, like, it gave us some appreciation for just like the cruise experience and how good of family bonding we were able to have, because other family trips we've taken, or just with other people, like, I would say decision fatigue is like the number one thing that happens. And when you're trying to satisfy a whole group, it can be difficult to say, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? What should we see? But like, a cruise in a way can simplify that. I still don't think it would be like if I were to do a trip with just you.
Yeah, for just 2 people that have like similar interests, I don't think it would necessarily be the way that we would want to travel. But definitely, it's convenient for the group dynamic. But that is going to do it for this video. We're super excited about our next one because we're making our way to Acadia National Park, which was, when we started planning this trip, we're kind of seeing it as the pinnacle of our trip. We don't know if it's going to be the best, but it's at least the furthest point that we're going to go. We're super excited to explore that national park and share with you guys. All right, guys, catch you next week.